How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? So I've been playing a lot of Elsword lately with one of my buddies online that I had met through Vindictus, and, well, as per usual, whenever that I'm playing a lot of a game, I figured that I would throw in my 2 cents and tell you guys what my experience has been so far. I think it's been about like 20 to 30 hours that I've put in Elsword at the moment. This is going to be a lot more different than my usual videos that I do like this, with my impressions and stuff, because it's not going to be a pros and cons kind of thing in any way, shape, or form. It's actually a bit more of a warning than anything else for anybody who wants to try the game after watching this video. And honestly, like, the main reasoning for it is because my viewpoint at the moment is fucking heavily biased and skewed right now. I can't formulate a proper opinion that gives the game justice at the moment, given to what I feel the game's state is right now and what my experience has been so far. So that being said, what the fuck am I even talking about here? Well, honestly, there's not really anything that I can say about the game that you're not already seeing in the background. It's a 2D platformer fucking side-scroller beat-em-up game. Obviously, there's a third dimension in there, a third axis, but like, the game plays fundamentally like a 2D platformer with multiple levels that you jump up and down from. It's basically MapleStory if it were actually a good game. Yeah, that's right, I fucking went there. But moving on, Elsword has been a bit of a mixed bag of fucking emotions for me the entirety that I have played it, and it's been primarily frustration. Frustration in a particular thing that I'm noticing that seems to be like more and more common with gaming, like the longer that it is around, which is completely counterintuitive to what you would think. And what I'm talking about is like a game actually, there's a whole entire video about this that Ego Raptor has done. Aaron from Game Grumps, same fucking dude, on his Ego Raptor channel, and in one of his sequelitis videos talking about like conveyance and how well games teach you about themselves and what to do in them and all that other stuff. But like, it seems to be getting worse and worse as time fucking moves on with games for some reason. And I don't think that it's necessarily an issue on Elsword itself. The best way that I can really explain this is I don't think that Elsword like, just on its own rights, is a bad game. It's just everything around it doesn't fucking accommodate well to the way the thing was designed, is the best way that I can go about it. So, what I'm talking about is knowledge about what is needed to be able to succeed as you get later on into the game, because Elsword is an MMO game, so there's obviously some power crawl to it in grinding for gear and all of that other stuff and things that you need to know about the game. And let me also make a note here, ladies and gentlemen, that Elsword is a surprisingly in-depth game. It is not at all very simple and off-the-cuff and easy for you to understand. This game is quite fucking in-depth. There are a number of different characters that you can play as. Each character has 3 different subclasses that you can pick in between, and each of these classes have their own mechanics and combos that they can do, only they can do, on top of a number of mechanics that are unique to them. And you kinda need to know these to be able to utilize the class properly, especially later on in the game, because it gets very unforgiving very quickly when you hit later on. And not only that, but you also need to be appropriately geared to take on the dungeons that you need to do, and the game is not super populated where you'll be able to just match publicly with other people to be able to do certain dungeons, and several others are also one-man dungeons that you need to complete solo, that you need gear and game knowledge to be able to do. And the problem with Elsword is that there's not a lot of information online regarding this game. It is very difficult to be able to fucking obtain it. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you go on the fucking deep web, you would be able to readily get the information that you need, but for us filthy casuals who use a Google search to do it, it's pretty hard to find any information about gear progression or specific things that you need to know, what stats are important, what they do, and how to better increase your chances at being appropriately armed and geared to deal with those dungeons. So like I said, going back to the original point that I had made, this game isn't necessarily bad. I don't want to say that anything is particularly poorly made about the game. It's just, it requires you to be able to go through a certain particular gear progression, as many MMOs do, to be able to deal with the challenges there, because the way that you're supposed to clear Elsword in general is you need to quickly go from one area to the next. You need to kill the mobs as fast as humanly possible so that you can continue and just have like a really good momentum to be able to clear the rooms and go through them. But to do that, you need to do enough damage to the enemies to just rip through them and move on to the next area, and you cannot do that if you are not appropriately geared for it. And this is what I'm talking about right here. If you're spending too much time trying to get your MP bar up to be able to use skills to clear a room, or build another resource that you have to do the same exact thing, or you don't have the right skill rotations to do it, which goes into game knowledge, by the way. Oh, hello, cat. Then you can't clear the game efficiently. You start hitting these brick walls after a certain point and you will fail miserably. And I also just want you guys to be aware of the fact that I've had a friend of mine carrying me through like a large portion of the game, doing all of my clears and stuff, and giving me a general idea of like the combos that I needed to know and stuff, but like it still, gear was an issue up to that point, even though I had most of the pieces that I needed at the current point in time right now. I just didn't know what I needed to start running or what I was ready for, because like they have a combat power number that you use, but like that's a poor representation of how ready that you are for a dungeon essentially. But like even with a carry, it still was rough after a certain point. I could imagine going through this game solo, what it would be like. And really, the only thing that I think of with this is I imagine a game like Black Desert Online, right? I imagine a game with that much intricacy to it, the crafting system, the AP, DP, what you need in order to be able to progress to certain parts, accuracy, knowledge, all of the different things that you need to know about Black Desert Online. And now I'm just imagining if, like, none of the guides existed for that game, how fucking bad the game would be. And this is what I'm saying when I'm telling you guys that, like, I can't give this game, like, a rating or tell you how decent that it is or the pros and cons without looking at it from a very heavily biased standpoint right now, because there's just not much information out there to put you on the right track. I've got a general idea of what I need, but like here's a perfect example, guys. One of the primary combat stats that you're looking for being able to damage things and deal with these fucking dungeons that you need to do is a stat called Maximize plus X amount percent. I still have no fucking clue what Maximize does. I really don't. I don't know what the Maximize stat is, but it is about on par with critical chance, which I fucking don't even know, dude. Like, obviously I know what crit chance does, but I don't know what the Maximize stat does. Like, I don't know what I need to be able to make it so that I'm hitting harder so I can do the things that I need to do to get through these dungeons. And that's the problem that I have with the fucking game right now. So yeah, like I said, in summary, it's not really a bad game. I can't say that it's a good game right now. It's in a very weird state, I guess. And from what I have understood anyway, from what my friend was telling me about the game anyway, there were a number of Thai players that I guess were, like, giving people they were flaming people and being assholes over other people making guides about the game, I guess, and getting them pulled down from the fucking forums, which I don't know why anybody would do that with an MMO game, which just, I don't know. I wanted to use this video more as just a conversation piece towards, like, I don't understand, like, gatekeeping and all of that other shit. It's something that's very common in MMO games as a whole, but, like, in a game that's very intricate, you're always going to have those people that feel like there's something to prove that they know shit when other people don't, when it's just the nature of the way that the game is. And Elsword kind of just requires that information to be circulated from other people who know, to teach newer people the things that they need to know to be able to succeed in the game, because it's just not, like, they do not hold your hand with the different systems in the game and socketing and elements and how important that is to the game. It feels ultimately very similar to how intricate PSO2 is with its gear and its power crawl and gearing and all the other stuff and systems that are in PSO2. But the difference between this game and PSO2 is you can still succeed in PSO2 with shit gear by being a good player. You cannot do that in Elsword, because if you have crap gear, you're going to get caught in a crowd of 30 enemies that'll stun lock you and you'll fucking drop dead in a matter of a few seconds. So, like, that's the problem that I have with the game, is just that kind of stuff. Like, you really do need the gear to be able to make the cut to get into these dungeons, to not drop dead, to be able to do damage and clear and go further into the run and keep that momentum going. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. You need to know what, like, things that you are prepared to do, and then just crawl your way up to the harder things in Elsword, which, it's not a bad system. Again, it's good when things are working in your favor in Elsword, but when it's not, it is the most frustrating goddamn thing that I have ever fucking played in my entire fucking life. So, that's all I can leave off on you right there, guys. It's just, yeah, Elsword is the perfect example of what you get when you have an intricate game that requires circulation of information from other people, but that information doesn't get circulated either because of a lack of people in the community that are able to make guides, a lack of people in the community in general, or because of gatekeeping. I do not know what of these is the primary cause of it in Elsword, and I'm not going to just start slinging shame on it, but honestly, it does seem like there is a degree of gatekeeping that is being done with this game that stops people from getting the information that they need, so I don't fucking know, and I couldn't tell you guys, but I will see you later. Take it easy, and if you decide to pick up the game, you're gonna have to fucking mind up, like, mingling with the community if you're going to want any success when you hit a certain point, because you're just gonna hit a brick wall, and it's gonna be very fucking painful for you, so see you later, guys. That's all I have to say here.
You'll